From the outside, this is just another mountain in Iran, dry rock, empty ridges, nothing unusual. But inside mountains like these, Iran says it built underground air bases large enough for fighter jets and drones. That changes everything, because an air force hidden in rock is harder to destroy, harder to track, and harder to finish. Now add buried fuel, buried missiles, sealed blast doors, backup power, and multiple tunnel exits, and the mountain becomes a weapon. This is not just about one base. It is about a doctrine designed to survive the first strike. Today, we go inside Iran's underground air force. Iran's underground air force begins with geography, where mountains hide construction, absorb blasts, and confuse targeting from orbit. These ridgelines are not empty wasteland, but natural armor wrapped around Iran's most sensitive military ideas. A hidden base works best when the road approaching it looks ordinary, abandoned, and strategically unimportant. From space, the first clues are often tiny, consisting of disturbed earth, cut stone, and geometry where nature should dominate. By the time tunnel portals become obvious, the mountain has already done half the concealing work. Reuters reported Iran unveiled Eagle 44 in 2023, describing it as an underground air force base. The reveal mattered because it showed aircraft protection was no longer theoretical, symbolic, or purely propagandistic. A real air base underground must support movement, not simply park aircraft behind rock and darkness. Iran also said these buried fighters could carry long-range cruise missiles, raising their retaliatory value significantly. Drones matter too, because underground warfare increasingly blends crude aircraft with smaller, expendable, unmanned systems. Inside such a base, even a door becomes part of the weapon system and survival equation. Rock alone is powerful, but rock combined with reinforced layers creates a far harder targeting problem. That is why the tunnels matter. They connect fuel, weapons, repairs, command, and aircraft into one organism. Fuel stored and pumped underground reduces exposure during the most vulnerable moments before launch and recovery. Power resilience matters just as much, because buried aircraft are useless if the base goes electrically blind. Ventilation is another hidden battle underground, keeping machines cool and crews alive inside sealed mountain chambers. Cooling lines, pipe networks, and environmental controls are what turn a cave into functioning military infrastructure. Protected munitions storage means retaliatory weapons may survive even after above-ground depots are struck first. Maintenance underground is difficult, cramped, and slower than surface work, but exposure is dramatically reduced. The same logic extends to avionics, sensors, and software. Survivability now includes electronics, not only concrete. Air crews underground are protected assets too, because a jet without a pilot remains only stored metal. Command continuity is everything, as a surviving aircraft cannot matter if launch authority dies in the opening attack. Protected communications keep the mountain connected even when surface networks become chaotic, jammed, or damaged. Underground command rooms allow Iran to watch the sky while its aircraft remain physically hidden below. Geography then links the base to strategy, especially where southern mountains face the Gulf and Hormuz routes. A concealed shelf runway or canyon exit complicates the attacker's assumption that one runway ends everything. Terrain masking helps aircraft survive their most fragile seconds during the exposed transition from shelter to open sky. Redundant exits are insurance. If one portal is watched, cratered, or blocked, another may still work. Concealment does not stop at the tunnel, meaning vehicles, routes, and service areas must vanish into terrain too. Decoys make this worse for any attacker, because false targets can consume reconnaissance time and expensive weapons. This is why surface runways are dangerous liabilities in modern precision warfare, being highly visible and easy to suppress. A buried fighter behind steel and mountain cover can survive damage that would cripple an open-air air base. Once weapons are loaded underground, the mountain stops being shelter alone and becomes latent strike capacity. Everything inside has to move with choreography, because underground protection always comes with spatial constraint. Internal security matters too, as a hidden base survives better when movement through it is controlled and segmented. Long alerts demand bunks, sealed rooms, and protected personnel spaces, making endurance a key part of survivability. Food, water, medicine, and spare parts are unglamorous, but they decide whether buried combat power actually lasts. Any base expecting strikes must expect wounded crews too, making underground medical support operationally necessary. Redundancy means one failure should trigger another system, not collapse the whole buried network at once. The inclusion of drones shows Iran's underground concept is evolving beyond classic aircraft shelter doctrine alone. Hidden bases survive through hidden rhythms. Quiet night convoys, blackout resupply, and disciplined movement underground. Communication lines buried into rock reduce vulnerability and preserve the flow of orders, data, and warning. Even ventilation must disappear into the landscape, because life support signatures can reveal massive hidden structures. Underground air bases still need protection above ground, especially from nearby aircraft, drones, and precision-guided weapons. Mobile sensors help solve that problem by appearing briefly, transmitting, then disappearing before being targeted. The doctrine is brutally simple: survive first contact, preserve launch power, and force the enemy back into decisions. That is why compartmentalized bays matter, as segmentation stops one successful hit from becoming total paralysis. Analysts watch hardened sites over months because underground facilities reveal themselves slowly, almost reluctantly. Reuters reported reconstruction activity at Parchin, showing Iran repairing sensitive military infrastructure after earlier damage. At Parchin, a newer structure was eventually hidden beneath concrete and soil, becoming harder to identify. Covering a sensitive chamber with additional shielding is both engineering and strategy to hide it, harden it, and complicate it. Reuters and BBC also described Isfahan tunnel entrances being progressively backfilled and sealed with earth. Buried entrances can dampen strikes and make direct access harder for any raiding force or inspection team. Near Natanz, Pickaxe Mountain showed fresh fortification work, reinforcing the logic of deepening and protecting key sites. BBC reported analysts identified a boom pump there, providing visible evidence of fresh concrete reinforcement work. Reuters also described dump trucks, cement mixers, and heavy equipment moving around hardened mountain facilities. New branch tunnels matter because every extra depth layer raises uncertainty, cost, and required strike repetition. Natanz's evolution suggests a clear lesson learned. If one generation is vulnerable, build the next deeper. Intelligence agencies therefore work with fragments like imagery, machinery movement, earth patterns, and educated inference. Unknown underground volume is itself a form of defense, because what cannot be mapped cannot be closed confidently. Once hard targets go deep enough, specialized strike aircraft like the B-2 enter the planning conversation. The largest bunker buster bombs exist for exactly this kind of problem. Buried facilities protected by rock and depth. But penetration is never only about bomb size. Rock type, angle, reinforcement, and repetition all matter. Very deep targets may require repeated impacts in nearly the same spot to push destruction downward. Depth changes warfare because every additional meter can multiply uncertainty far beyond its physical measurement. Granite overburden is not invincibility, but it is a serious engineering shield against surface blast effects. Underground crews train for alarms because survival depends on immediate, practiced movement under pressure and confusion. Compartment doors then turn architecture into defense, sealing damage while preserving other sections for continued action. Power rerouting is equally vital because hidden launch capability dies quickly if systems cannot reboot under stress. Alternate internal taxi routes help aircraft escape assumptions baked into enemy target folders and strike maps. A dawn launch from a canyon exit is the perfect symbol of underground doctrine. Hidden first, visible late. Southern Iranian bases gain strategic weight because aircraft launched there can reach Gulf corridors rapidly. Separate drone exits add flexibility, allowing unmanned systems to fly without crowding the main aircraft routes. Sortie turnaround is the real test, as protection matters only if the base can regenerate combat power. Decoys amplify survivability by forcing surveillance systems to interpret noise, signatures, and deliberate deception. For enemy planners, the challenge is brutal. Too many entrances, too many unknowns, and too little certainty. Command links to Hormuz make these bases strategically meaningful beyond simple self-protection or national prestige. Survivable basing keeps retaliatory pathways alive, preserving options even after painful initial military losses. Underground air shelters fit within a wider Iranian preference for hardened, distributed, and concealed military systems. Seen correctly, the underground air force is not one cave, but an ecosystem hidden in rock. Missile tunnels reinforce the same philosophy to preserve launchers, hide infrastructure, and keep retaliation possible after punishment. Distribution across provinces matters because geography itself becomes part of national military resilience and deterrence. Linking Air Base Command to Hormuz multiplies the strategic value of any aircraft that survives underground shelter. A hidden fighter carrying standoff weapons is not passive protection. It is protected offensive potential. Combined drones and fighters make buried air power harder to predict, schedule, and fully suppress. Spare parts entering protected tunnels are a reminder that logistics, not glamour, sustains real combat endurance. Cratered open bases teach the central lesson quickly. Visibility is vulnerability when precision strike networks dominate. Yet the surrounding civilian landscape often looks utterly normal, helping hidden infrastructure blend into ordinary geography. Weather adds another layer of concealment, briefly helping mountains erase surface clues and movement patterns. Tiny thermal signatures can betray huge hidden systems, which is why every exhaust outlet becomes strategic. Attackers therefore chase fragments, trying to separate active portals from harmless roads and deliberate distractions. Each additional possible strike point raises the cost of certainty and delays any claim of total success. Iran's controlled public tunnel reveals serve a second purpose too. They shape perception and deterrence simultaneously. Smaller drone chambers can multiply the base's value by expanding surveillance, harassment, and strike flexibility. Underground weapons checks are about timing as much as readiness. Launching too early can waste survivability. Redundant sites elsewhere matter because one protected base is useful, but several are strategically transformative. Outer checkpoints prove secrecy begins long before a bomb-proof door or tunnel entrance appears. Protected command under fire matters because surviving aircraft are useless without orders, timing, and coherent direction. Reuters also described repair work at missile base compounds, showing the network can partially recover after strikes. Recovery speed may be the hidden metric of modern war. What returns fastest shapes the next phase. Reuters reported intelligence assessments cited by CNN saying some Iranian drone production had already restarted. That matters because surviving industrial capacity can rearm a damaged network faster than outsiders expect. One sealed entrance, one repaired roof, one active bay. Together they show uneven survival can still suffice. In the cockpit underground, the mountain's entire purpose narrows to one moment: preserve the pilot until launch. The doors open not because the base is invulnerable, but because it survived long enough to matter. Exhaust haze in an empty tunnel shows the goal clearly: keep tempo alive, not simply protect static metal. After launch, hidden war becomes a waiting game of signals, timing, and the fear of interrupted communications. Pull back far enough, and the wider truth emerges. The terrain itself favors concealment and dispersal. Distributed nodes make total victory harder because no single crater can erase the whole buried system. A convoy entering another province's mountain tunnel proves redundancy better than any official speech ever could. The most successful underground base is the one that looks completely absent from the outside world. That dark entrance is modern warfare's quiet warning. Visible firepower is only half the battlefield. Iran's hidden air force does not need perfect invulnerability, only enough survival to shape what happens next.